Some years ago, I visited Israel to spend a month there teaching English, one-on-one, actually, tutoring English. I was all excited about going, and I enjoyed the trip. But I was sure I would feel comfortable there because these are my people, no matter where you are in the world. Jews are all over. And my children who had been there told me that I should expect culture shock. There would be a difference. And I poo-pooed it. I laughed at that. And sure enough, there was culture shock. They have a whole different concept. The Israeli Jew is almost not Jewish as compared to the other Jews in the world. And the reason for that, I think, is that they became Israeli Jews because of Hitler's war. These are the people that had no place else to go, and these are the people who originally founded and settled Israel. Israel was finally given to the Jews from Britain, and we had a homeland. That was the important thing, and I had paid a lot of attention to helping that new Israeli state begin. But when I got there, I did not fit in. I wasn't comfortable. It was, first of all, you can't speak Jewish there. It's almost against the law. You have to speak Hebrew because they don't all understand English. And I have trouble with Hebrew. I learned it, but I don't use it, so I had no way of using. And the Hebrew that I learned is biblical Hebrew. They have a very different Hebrew where a lot of the words are pronounced differently, spelled a little differently, and it's a whole new ball game. So that didn't work too well. There was one example. They have what they call a sharut that looks like a taxi, but it's really a bus. And they jam 5 or 6 people in, as many as they can. They'll pick you up where you got picked up, take you where you want to go, and the fare is supposedly less. Well, one day I went into a sharut to go someplace, and I gave them a $5 bill in Israeli money, and it cost less than $1 for the ride. And all I got back was some change, and it wasn't much change, and I couldn't understand that I got enough money. I wanted to be sure that I wasn't cheated, because countries have a tendency of cheating tourists. And so I kept asking, and he kept saying, don't worry, don't worry. Now, the woman sitting next to me leaned over and said to me in Jewish, do you understand Jewish? I said, yes. And she pointed out a little coin that's smaller than our dime. That's $1 bill in Israel. That's $1 anyway. It's not a bill. It's a coin. But she had to whisper, because if anyone had heard her speak Jewish, it would have been terrible. You speak Hebrew in Israel. Even French they'll answer. English if they know it. But not Jewish. They want to have their own state language. And it gets complicated. There was one woman told me, she was from America. She met a guy from Casablanca, a Jewish man from Morocco, from French Morocco. And the way they communicate best is with Hebrew. And they made a rule before they got married that they'd use no other language, so that they'd have to learn Hebrew. And it's a little better now. They must have 3 kids by now. But in the beginning, it was difficult, but they managed. We did a lot of traveling around. I did not get to Jerusalem because it was July and it was too hot in Jerusalem. But I don't remember where I was. There's a Baha'i, must have been in Tel Aviv. There's a Baha'i headquarters in Israel, which is a different religion from the Arabs or the Jews. And a lot of walking. I was at Masada. One thing you have to know when you get to Israel, either you can walk or you don't go on the tours. I was, two soldiers, I guess, who could have been old enough to be our sons, flirted with us. There were 3 of us living together in the volunteer headquarters, and they wanted to take us to a beach party in the middle of the night. I said, what are you going to do with me at a beach party in the middle of the night? Well, I didn't go. The other 2 women went. I didn't even ask them what happened, but I'm not interested. And then in my purse, I had a card, a business card. I was looking for something, and I pulled this. I said, look what I brought with me. The guy took it from me. He said, may I have it? Yes, sure. And then 5 minutes later, I had him showing everybody, look at this American woman gave him this business card. He's going to visit her when he comes to that story that he came up with. You got to be very careful. You got to be very careful wherever you go. What else is there to say? The outside markets there are unusual. Big markets. You wouldn't even know they were there. Here, if there's a flea market or something, you see tables when it's empty. They put up buildings, booths, and when they clear out, they're there only on Saturdays or Sundays, something like that. But when they clear out, you'd never know that anybody was there. They sold everything, even pieces of furniture. And yet, you would never know they were there.